I got a crazy motorcycle in front of me. Look at this thing. This is a Yamaha Niken, and it's a 2019 model. And if you guys are interested in this model, you can pick it up here at Prestige Motorcycles. And this happens to be the Niken GT version. So, first of all, I'm a little nervous about riding this motorcycle because this thing is a complete monstrosity. 847cc. It's got a quick shifter. The suspension is fully adjustable. I don't even know how to get to the suspension on this damn thing. I've never ridden a bike like this before. But we're going to swing a leg over it right now and see what this thing is like. Hopefully I don't tip it over. And then I'm definitely banned from getting more motorcycles. Hey Nils, how much does this weigh? 580. Okay, so official weight is 580. Dry or wet? I'm thinking it's probably dry. Wet? Wow, that's incredible. Alright, 580 wet, not bad. Let's get on with this business of riding this bike. Alright, wow, tipping it over, it doesn't feel that heavy. I would have thought this thing was like a tank heavy, but it's not. Wow. This thing is going to be fun. Either I'm going to hate this thing by the end of this test ride, or I'm going to love it. And I'm going to want one. I don't know what's going to happen towards the end. Let's find out. Alright, I'm nervous, man. I haven't been nervous to ride a motorcycle in such a long time. But I'm nervous. Damn, this thing is smooth. I'm still laughing because I can't believe how big this thing is. Sitting on top of this thing almost makes me feel like sitting on top of an elephant. People are looking at it like, what in the world is this guy riding? Oh man, we forgot to get rid of the window sticker. Wow, I have never in my entire life have ridden something like this, but wow, this thing feels flickable, man. Like as if this thing could be super fun riding on twisties. Look at that. Doesn't feel that heavy at all. And there's a Ford GT to my left. Old school Ford GT. Cool, man. You don't get to see those every day. Rock on. Think he'd be interested in racing me in a Niken? I wonder who would win. People are looking at this thing like, is it a motorcycle? Is it a trike? What is this thing? I gotta say, this thing is super comfortable to ride, man. This is definitely a GT. And from what I know, GT stands for Grand Touring. So this is definitely something that you could ride for long distances and be comfortable in. So just in case you're curious to find out, when you are stopping, the motorcycle is not going to balance for you, even though it has 3 wheels. It will tip over, so just be aware of that in case you ever test ride one of these babies. Be on your feet. It will tip over. I wonder if I wave other motorcyclists, will they wave back? I wonder if they'll do it because this motorcycle is just so weird. Do other people actually know what this thing is? Alright, so it's my first attempt at trying to filter or lane split, as we call it here in California. Let's see if it works, because this baby is super wide, man. Alright, I guess it worked. Well, it's got some power. It's a motorcycle after all. Come on now. I'm in power mode A, and I'm gonna assume that's the highest power. Obviously, we're taking it on some B roads right now, but we're gonna ride for a little bit more, talk about how this motorcycle rides, how it feels. If you've watched any of my videos, it's gonna be no different than that. Forget that it has 3 wheels. It's still a motorcycle. And then afterwards, we're gonna take it on some twisties and see how she handles, because I'm really curious to find out what this thing is like. Because when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's actually going to be able to lean, but I was told that it leans just like any other motorcycle. So let's see if it's true. Alright, my first experience in the twisties. Here we go. With a twisty, and I'm talking about a left turn. Wow. Shocking. Holy wow. It is shocking how it feels like you're riding a regular motorcycle, even though it has 3 wheels. Who would have thunk it? This thing is a lot of fun to ride, man. Wow, I did not expect that. So, from what I've been hearing about this bike, this thing is perfect for all types of weather. You can ride this thing in the rain, you can ride this thing in all types of conditions, and it handles wonderfully. It's a GT bike, so of course it's going to do very well. And on top of that, it's a Yamaha, so that means it's going to be very reliable. I would definitely do long road trips with this baby. The front windscreen is doing a wonderful job. I feel a lot of wind protection. The only places where the wind is hitting me are my shoulders, but it's doing a fantastic job of buffering it from my helmet and from my body. Woohoo! Damn, this thing's got a lot of power for a 550-pound beast. Damn! Did not expect that. And now that I'm riding it for, what has it been, about 25 minutes, this thing feels like a regular motorcycle. You look at this thing and you haven't ridden it yet, and you're like, oh yeah, some grandpa's probably gonna buy that, and it's probably gonna ride it like once a week on his Sundays. But no, man, you can legit buy this thing, have a lot of fun with it. It's got a lot of power, and sooner or later we're gonna test this thing out on the twisties and see what it's like. Riding this motorcycle is very, very confidence inspiring. It's so stable to ride. It feels so planted. 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel in the back. Who would have thunk it that something like this would work out? Man, the exhaust sounds throaty too. Alright, tunnel time. Let's see if we can hear this exhaust. Even with my visor up, doing 48 miles an hour, it's tolerable because it does a very good job of shielding all the wind from your helmet. I like that. Damn! This thing sounds really good when you give it the full beans. Alright, so we got some twisties coming up. Let's see what this thing rides like. But right now I'm doing about 65 miles an hour, and I'm tossing this thing left and right, and it doesn't feel like it's 540 pounds. All of a sudden it feels like a very lightweight motorcycle. You definitely forget how wide and how big this motorcycle is, and you definitely forget that it has 3 wheels. Wow. Very nice. Once you start to ride it, you completely forget the extra wheel that exists underneath you. And you forget, you look into the distance, not looking down, but you look into the distance and you forget that all this exists. It's easily tossable into these turns. It doesn't feel sluggish at all. The throttle response is sharp. There's a lot of torque down low, and throughout the entire rev range I haven't felt any flat spots. Alright, the part of the twisty section that I've been talking about is coming up right here. Let's just hope there's no traffic, because I experienced a lot of it back there, which of course through the magic of editing I had to cut out. You guys would not enjoy it. But here we go. Let's see what this baby's like. Wow. No understeer, no oversteer. You point, shoot, it goes. As I already mentioned, throttle response is sharp, plenty of torque, no flat spots whatsoever. And of course, it feels so planted, giving me so much more confidence. There's a very sharp turn coming up. Let's see if we can Marc Marquez this thing. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Damn, look how flickable this thing is. As soon as you give this thing the full beans, it's got weight transfer. It almost feels like all the weight is going through the back and the front is going to lift up. That's the sensation it's giving you. A lot of feedback through the handlebars. Lots and lots of feedback. As far as the brakes are concerned, they're pretty meaty, a lot of stopping power, and I just started using the rear brakes. If this was my bike, I would back it in for you guys, but it's not, so I'll leave it at that. But it's got a lot of brakes back there, man. The brakes are very strong in the back. I did not expect that. It's even got better brakes in the back than my Street Triple and the Yamaha R6. That's crazy. Speaking of Yamaha R6, look at these mirrors. Does that remind you of something? Yep, those are taken directly off of the Yamaha R6, it looks it. I think the bars are longer, obviously, because it needs to protrude out, but the mirrors look exactly the same as my R6. Which brings a sense of familiarity, and I like that. Yamaha makes one of the best mirrors in the business. They're very stout, very, very stable. They don't vibrate, well, at least they don't on my R6. I could be doing 150 miles an hour on that thing, and I have, and they don't vibrate. And that's one thing I love about it. Whenever I had my Ducati, as soon as I started up that motorcycle, the mirrors shook so badly I couldn't see through them. It almost looked like I had double vision at times. Mind you, my vision is already bad, but when I looked at that thing, it made my vision look even worse. But the Yamaha mirrors, they're phenomenal, and on this bike, it extends the width by at least an additional 10 inches from where I'm looking at here, but it provides wonderful visibility, very, very clear visibility. So let's recap a little bit, starting from the beginning. It's got 3 wheels, but it doesn't feel like it's got 3 wheels. It feels like you're sitting on top of an elephant, but once you're actually riding it, it feels light and nimble. You don't think that it's going to be good in the twisties until you actually go, but then you realize that it's very flickable, and feels like a regular motorcycle that has 2 wheels. And then on regular B roads, you can be in 6th gear doing 25 miles an hour, and the transmission is going to put up with it. I like that. That's all I've learned about the bike so far, and I've been riding it for about 30-40 minutes, and that's what I've gotten out of it so far. There's one last thing that we need to do, and that's to take this thing on the highway to see what it does, because it is a GT bike after all, and having a GT bike and not putting it to the test on the highway is probably a crime that I don't know about, but I don't want to commit it, so we're going to do that. Alright, stepping into the highway, let's see what this thing is like, because I imagine this thing is going to be on the highway a lot if somebody owns it. Just as I imagined, highway riding on this thing is probably more comfortable than anything else I've ever experienced. This is Grand Touring on another scale, my friends. I've ridden a lot of GS bikes. I'm sure the person who's interested in something like this is also thinking about some GS bikes, because obviously they're also Grand Touring bikes meant for adventure and everything else. I'm not exactly sure if this is an adventure bike because it's got 2 small front wheels in the front, but it is for touring. Now I'm doing highway speeds, and the surface that I'm in is not exactly the smoothest, but it is still a very, very smooth ride. Like mostly about bikes like this is that they don't compromise sportiness, they don't compromise agility and speed. Meanwhile, being a GT bike that's meant to be for long cruises and whatnot, you can still have a lot of fun on a bike like this. So let's see if we can turn on cruise control. Alright, so now I got cruise control on. Check that out. Look, no hands. Woohoo! Man, this thing is super stable. Wow. Highway test? Check. Guys, to be honest with you, I had absolutely no idea that I was going to like this bike by the time I got back. I'm not even sensationalizing by telling you this, but I genuinely had a great time riding this bike. Just by looking at it, it probably looks like something that an old man would ride. But heck no, man, my opinion of this thing has changed. I would buy one of these bikes and rip it on the track if I could. It performed really well in the twisties. It's got a lot of low-end power, and it doesn't feel as big as it is, and you forget that it has 3 tires. I like it a lot, genuinely like it a lot. So if you're interested in purchasing this bike, it is available at Prestige Motorcycles. Come here and check this bike out. I think he's selling it at a pretty good price. It only has 2,413 miles. And let this be your test ride. So if you like it, come on down. Alright guys, give this video a like. Give it a massive like. And also subscribe to the channel. Because look at all these motorcycles that I have access to. I'm going to be riding every single one of these bikes eventually, but for now, check out my garage. This is mine, and I can take out anything I want for you guys and ride it. So if you haven't seen the other video where I did a walk around of this dealership, make sure to go check it out. Comment down in the description below what you want me to ride next, and until then, I will catch you guys on the next episode. Ciao for now.